I just helped this player completely transform his defense in CFB 26 by simply using the full 3-2-6 defensive playbook. Luckily for you, in this video, I'm giving you that same full 3-2-6 defensive ebook that's going to have you locking down every single drive. Whether you want to stop your buddy or you want to become the best defensive player in your league, this is going to be the perfect video for you, so don't skip out on any of the tips and plays I have for you today. Let's jump right into it. The first thing any great defense needs is a go-to blitz to get the quarterback on the ground in a hurry. Let me show you the best one here from his 3-2-6 playbook. All right, so we're gonna come here into, we're obviously in the 3-2-6 playbook. We're gonna come into nickel 3-3 double mug, okay? And I'm not showing you the little bot Sin 6 version. No, there's actually a way to run this defense at a really high level. So what we're going to do is we're gonna take this Lawson defender, the guy, the A-gap rusher, on the same side as the running back. All right, here in this case at least, you're just taking the guy on the right side of that A-gap. So this defender right here, Lawson, and we're gonna stand right here over this center. We're gonna drop our defensive end just like this into a curl flat assignment. And what we are going to do is stand about 2 yards over this center right here, all right? And as soon as they snap the ball, you're going to press your D-pad to the right to D-pad switch kick onto this, defensive end. So boom, take the snap, D-pad switch kick. And now what does that do? It creates a 4-on-3 advantage on the left side of the offensive line that the offense simply can't account for. We've talked about many overload blitzes this year, especially from the 3-2-6 playbook, and the best part is you're able to do a whole bunch of them from different defensive alignments and looks. Also, what's great about this is you actually have a built-in man switch with these two defenders, boom and boom, especially against this formation in particular, so that this man doesn't have to chase this flat all the way out to the sideline. Something else that helps, although your user's pretty much already here to defend this if they decided to throw it, but here's the key: the D-pad switch stick. You see I'm already switched onto this man before the quarterback has the ball. Right before Ty Simpson even has the ball, I'm already over here on this defensive end. And so that basically allows for me to use a rush then and play coverage with this D-pad switch kick. That's why it's the most important defensive adjustment and feature that you need to start utilizing, because it really will make it a whole lot easier for you to, rush the passer. So that's basically the blitz. But what you're also going to notice, if they block their running back, that makes the numbers 4-on-4. But the best part is we're able to just get our defensive end to penetrate that man at the point of attack. So now that if you know they're blocking their running back, you can actually drop your man into a hook curl right here, and instead of pressing D-pad to the right, you can press D-pad up. So again, pass commit my defense, stand in this same spot right here, and boom, take it, press D-pad up, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, where now we're just going to be able to push our way into the quarterback. And if you want to run man coverage, you're going to be strapping them up. So you're able to see how this guy comes in clean, and then we're just able to push our way into the quarterback for a very routine and easy sack, just because, the running backs are going to struggle mightily in pass protection, especially when they're having to slide over. But the last thing that I'll break down here with this blitz in particular is how you can make it even better is pressing D-pad right, then RB, and then pressing Y to use the left exit 2-man custom stunt. This is going to allow for your defensive end to essentially get kind of like a speed boost right out of his rush. So what we're going to see, stand in this same spot right here, boom, take it, press D-pad right, and instead of him coming off the edge now, totally off the edge, he's basically going to loop through and just come in free, which honestly I've noticed it tends to be a little bit faster of a rush. And then you're also able to see how this time our other defender, number 0, comes in clean as well. So overall, just a really great overload blitz, whether you want to use the left exit 2-man stunt or you just want to call it regular. The most important thing is pressing D-pad to the right or D-pad up to get back into coverage while your user ends up blitzing to create the overload. Alright, having a great glitch blitz is fantastic, but if you're not using the best defensive settings right now, your whole defense could come out misaligned, or your zones could be playing in the wrong spot. Let me show you the best defensive settings to use right now with this 3-2-6 playbook. Alright, so we have some new settings here that we're going to be breaking down and why they're important. So first, we're going to come into our zone drops, right? These, I would say, a lot of people tell you to use these 10-yard flats. We're talking about zone drops here. So a lot of people, a lot of other creators will tell you, hey, use these 10-yard flats. And I just think that that's ridiculous, as you're going to see right here, because if you really think about it, a 10-yard hard flat is just dropping back. right to 10 yards. He's not really defending the underneath. So we look at this pass to RB right here where we throw it and we're able to pick up like 4, 5, 6 yards depending on how good of a rack animation we get. And to me, that's just not the point of a flat. Look at that on the other side where, I mean, like my quarterback just sails that pass, but that's just an easy completion, right? So we set up the same way. We have our 10-yard hard flat, boom, and then we just end up throwing that pass right there on the sideline and we pick up 7 yards because our flat isn't actually defending underneath. So don't use those 10-yard hard flats. They're not actually, you know, they don't defend the underneath well enough, but then also they're at 10 yards. So if you step up in the pocket, you can pretty easily and routinely just hit a, you know, corner route right there on the sideline. So instead, what I would recommend you do is leave your flats on default and then put your curl flats in 5. So now you're gonna have default 5 default, and you also don't have to make an adjustment now. You don't have to shade your coverage down to put hard flats in the field. Now your guys are just gonna be sitting right there at the spot. Bray Hubbard right there, that's a tackle. They gained a yard right there, ball's at the 30, so they pick up a yard, cool. And then if we even try it on the other side where we're actually sitting in the spot to break on that out, and instead of him being able to throw that on time for a 7-yard completion, it's now an interception or pass breakup. So bottom line with that, it's like, okay, just use, you know, 5-yard flats to take away the underneath. But then also, you know, what you need to understand as well is that you're just going to give up this corner out if they call a flood concept. So now, boom, you have the 5, but they just have that pass open on the sideline if the quarterback wants to make an accurate throw, because your flat zone defender can only choose one of those guys. So he can only defend this 5-yard flat underneath or this table route, which leaves this wide open on the sideline. So really the next thing that I would recommend is what we call the double Mabel, where you're going to have a 25-yard flat, right? So we're going to come back into our coaching adjustment, put our flats in 25, leave your curl flats in 5. This time though, you're going to call it cover 2. All right, so now we're going to call this cover 2 defense, and we are going to have a route concept like this, same thing, where boom, they're just going to call street corner flat. And now we're going to put our slot corner in a curl flat. That's also a critical adjustment to this. Boom, if I can get the adjustment. There we go. So now we're going to have our guy dropping to 25 yards. So boom, we take this snap, we have a man dropping at 25 yards, but then we also have a guy dropping at 5 yards to defend the underneath pass. So basically, you're able to get the best of both worlds by making a simple adjustment to your zone drops. You're able to take away the underneath pass, and then you're able to defend over the top. So that's why we say zone drops have different use cases. I wouldn't say one zone drop setting specifically, you know, for every single situation, right? You need to be rotating them, changing them up throughout the game. But also another setting that I want to break down here besides the zone drops is actually your safety adjustments and their alignment. So we're going to put our curl flats back on 5. A lot of people want to use safety depth when close with their width and pinch. I've told you guys to use that before as well. And the reason why is it's great to be able to defend the seam, right? It's just you're able to defend the seam a whole lot better because obviously your safeties are closer to the line of scrimmage. But also it can make this happen where because my safeties are closer to the line of scrimmage, now when I'm trying to switch stick, I get switch stick onto my safety too often because he's closer to the line of scrimmage, and the game's almost treating him like a linebacker. Versus if you put your safety depth on default, you leave it on default, now when you try to switch it, you're less likely to get switched onto those safeties, those deep zones more often, right? And so really, again, it can leave you susceptible to these deeper passes down the field if you accidentally switch stick onto your safety. So that's why, I mean, I would say it depends on how often you switch stick, how often that problem is happening to you, because don't get it mistaken, right? You want to have your safety depth on close at times to defend the seam, right? So boom, we try to look right up the seam right here to Ryan Williams. Having that safety right there to break on that pass is great, but it's also like the risk associated with it is if you call that same cover 2 defense and you're trying to switch stick around, you could accidentally end up on that safety where boom, I'm on this guy. And like, you know, good switch stick players make up for it by quickly switching back onto someone else, but it's just kind of annoying. So I wanted to point that out to help you guys understand that. But really bottom line, zone drops have different use cases. Never use 10-yard flats. Use the double Mabel coverage to defend flood concepts. And then for safety alignment, close pinch is great, but understand the risks that are associated with it. If you have slow safeties, you could get beat over the top, and also you could get switched by accident onto, those deep zones. All right, so if you're enjoying this breakdown or found anything I've said so far in this video helpful, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down college football 26 defense tips, give you guys free ebooks every single day. You don't want to miss out on the content that I have, but this video is just a piece of my full 326 defensive ebook, which you can grab today at the link down below in the pinned comment. You can use code YouTube to get 20% off. It goes through the full write-up, screenshots, video breakdowns, everything you're going to need to dominate on defense here in college football 26 from this playbook. Recommend you check it out. You can save all the plays, videos, screenshots on your phone and reference them during gameplay, so it's really the best purchase that you'll make on defense. Let's jump right back into the video. All right, so next I want to break down the best way to stop corner routes here in CFB 26 from this 326 playbook. Let me show you. All right, so if we come back into our coaching adjustments here, this is another use case of zone drops. Now we're gonna have all three flats, right? Curl flats and hooks all in default. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna call a cover 6 defense, right? You can do this from really any defense has a cover 6. I like nickel 3-3 load mug here, but what we're gonna see is we're going to have our cover, this is cover 6, so it's cover 4 on the passing strength side, cover 2 on the weak side. So now what you're gonna notice is if they go ahead and call a flood concept, the same flood concept that we called earlier, right? We showed you a cover 2 double Mabel defense to stop this, but this, in my opinion, is even better because now the middle of the field isn't going to be wide open like it typically is when you call that double Mabel, because now we're going to be converting from zone coverage into man coverage down the field. And the reason why this is so valuable is because a lot of players will get confused and they will panic simply because this looks like zone. Okay, boom, 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 we're in zone coverage. But now as the play starts to really develop, the corner route could get open on the sideline. Now we're converting into man coverage down the field. Again, another key is making sure you have all three zone drop depths on default anytime you're calling a match coverage based play, or your defense will just play like regular drop zone. So you're able to see how this quarter flat matches onto the table route. This inside quarter takes this corner route down the field, and then this outside quarter takes their streak. So you're doing a great job of just passing the routes off wonderfully and taking that route concept away. If they were to call streak corner flat to the other side though, right, maybe with a route concept like this, deep tight end corner, you're going to notice how the defense is going to play differently, but it's still going to do a great job. I would say you should always, obviously every defensive play you call, be ready to switch stick to take stuff away, but you're just noticing how, I mean, look at that. That's just really technical defense, right? And just very confusing. You have guys running all over the field, taking routes away, latching onto them. Let's take a look at this instant replay. Boom. This is a flood concept. They also have a couple of post routes on the backside, so I immediately jump out here to take this away. This looks like it's going to be open in the sideline, but it's not, because now we have this man number 10 dropping here and running with this to take this away. I'm also here if I wanted to carry this, number 5 receiver all the way across the field, but also if they threw that, this man would probably just react to that pass anyway. So it's like when you run match, understand, like this is match coverage, right? Cover 6, understand that a lot can happen and a lot can change depending on the route concept that they call. But as far as just being able to defend that tight end corner route, that regular corner route to Ryan Williams, I mean, you just will run it one more time here. You're just going to notice how, I mean, when they call corner routes, you can really put your controller down. Your guys are going to do a great job of just taking that away, right? We break that pass up, and then we're able to defend that deep corner out, on the sideline. So really cover 2 double Mabel gives you a great option, but also match coverage to be able to convert from, man coverage, to convert from zone to man coverage here down the field. Also really, really valuable to defend corner routes. All right, before I jump to those final 2 scheme tips here from the 326 playbook that you're absolutely not going to miss, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I'm the only one right now breaking down college football 26 tips and tricks for you guys every single day, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But let's jump into those final 2 tips. Which I understand everyone's not a pro player and can't make adjustments super fast. Let me show you a simple coverage defense that you can deploy on anyone, and it's going to be really locked down. All right, so we're going to come here into nickel 3-3 mint. All right, and our play is going to be cover 3 cloud. Now, for this, I would recommend, putting your curl flats back on 5 yards so that you're not actually running match coverage, you're running zone. So come into cover 3 cloud, and this really is the defense. because I'm going to have them in a random pass play right here. And essentially your job, you're not making any adjustments. And what I tell people is you can't get away with not making any adjustments and not switch sticking. Right, you're gonna have to do one or the other. So with this, you're choosing to not make adjustments, but that just means that your switch stick really needs to be pretty pristine. So what we're gonna see right here is I have them in a random play, and so I'm just gonna be reading their route concept, taking stuff away, right? Boom, and we're just sitting pretty much in between those three, and now we get ourselves the covered sack. So that's really what it is, right? We're gonna have this obviously a different play. They're gonna be in tight open right here, and so I'm just kind of reading their route concept, and that's actually what I'm talking about kind of actually with switch sticking on the deep zones. That happened to me right there, and it's kind of scary. So that's why, honestly, when I've been playing recently, I've been using my safety depth on default because I can't stand getting switch stick onto those deep zones by accident and then allowing wide open touchdowns. So like I said earlier in the video, just be careful with that. Some plays like this one, you don't actually need to switch stick. Understand what having a good user defender means, and that really just means taking away the deepest problem route. Some route concepts, some plays that people call, it's just a bad play. No one's gonna get open, and so you don't really have to do anything. Right here, you see the return out underneath, you come down, take it away, and now you have great defense. So again, that's all I'm doing. I'm just reading their route concept right as they snap the ball. I'm trying to see what type of plays they have called. I see a motion. I say I want to jump out here, you know, to defend this, and we honestly have pretty good defense to defend this play, and so now they get sacked. So that's really what it is. It's switch sticking based on the route concept they have called. But you're gonna say, BLT, you know, I'm not that great with the switch stick, right? And so if you want to run this defense, which like I said, if you're not gonna make adjustments, you have to be able to switch stick. So how you're gonna get better with that is you're going to get into practice mode right here, spy off the pass rush like this. So now the quarterback is gonna have all day to throw. Make sure you have a second controller though, so that you can control the offense. But we're gonna take this snap, and now what's gonna happen is, yes, we're still gonna have to defend their route combo, but instead we're gonna also have to defend their route bounces. When these guys start running all over the field, we have to be here to defend this, because essentially at no point do you want for them to be able to throw the ball. And so this really is a great drill to build muscle memory. Now 3 of these guys have now stopped running, so that's when you throw the ball away. But that's how you're gonna get more control over your switch stick, because now when you get into a game, it's going to feel a lot more fluid. You're going to say, okay, if I flick the controller here, right, it's going to allow me to switch players a whole lot easier. So boom, 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 we're taking away everything, and eventually all these guys are going to start running back across the field, and so we have to be able to defend their route bounces. And now if you want to make this even harder, you could have a roommate or a friend, you know, try to throw the ball on you at some point, and you just have to be ready to defend this. And so like I said, it's going to just build that muscle memory of that, okay, if I flick the stick here, this is who it's going to switch me onto, and now your pass defense is going to be better. But for those of you who don't want to make adjustments, this is a really great coverage how to do it, because you have a hybrid defense. It helps against one-play touchdowns, but then also you have 2 guys that you can basically switch stick around from and take away passes all over the field. All right, and I would never want to leave you guys going into your next game without good run defense, because great pass defense is fantastic, but if you can't stop the run, no one's going to pass the ball on you. Let me show you a way to stop the run in the backfield every single time automatically. All right, so this is really great against inside runs. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come into 3-2-6 odd right here, or I think on PlayStation, this formation is called dime 3-2, but we're gonna come in cover 4 quarters, and what we're going to do is take this linebacker who's blitzing and come stand directly inside the butt of this defensive tackle, because what you're gonna notice now is, well, you're not gonna notice this, but if the offense will, and you just have to trust your lab work and trust me that if you come stand inside the butt of this D tackle, a flame icon now appears over your head, which means you're just going to walk in the backfield free. So we're going to take this snap and we're going to walk in the backfield free, and that's going to allow us to dive tackle the ball carrier. That is the critical part of this, is actually making this dive tackle, because as we know, we're in a speed boost era here in college football 26, and you have to be able to get these ball carriers down as quickly as possible. So to dive tackle, you're just pressing X on Xbox, square on PlayStation, to, you know, suction tackle the legs of the ball carrier. But you see it again, how consistent it is. When I'm over here, there's no flame icon. right? This is just going to be bad run defense because everyone's just going to be on a one-on-one. If they get to the second level of the defense, it can be a huge run for a touchdown. But if you know a run's coming, or you're predicting a run's coming, just come stand directly inside the butt of the D tackle. Now you're going to come in free, and then you're going to be able to dive tackle. I would, like I said, always recommend dive tackling so that you don't have to like get in a tackle battle if you try to conservative tackle, or the CPU might just miss, right? So that's why you always want to get that user control, click on, and dive tackle. Now, sometimes it's the D tackle that comes in clean, but hopefully it's going to be your user. Most of the time it is. When it's my user, that's normally the best thing. But really, you can see why this works because you're standing inside the butt of the D tackle, which means that, I mean, the offense, like there's two guys standing at the same spot. They don't know what to do, so they put a flame icon over his head until he comes in free. And really, I mean, that's the automatic run defense, guys. It really doesn't get any easier than that. Again, it's just time and time again. Stand right here, take the snap, dive tackle the ball carrier. Really work on your dive tackle. Have heat seeker assist turned on so that you can suction tackle the ball carrier in the backfield. And just like that, you're going to be able to stop every inside run in the backfield every time. All right, so if you found that breakdown here from the 326 playbook helpful, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. Again, I break down college football 26 tips and tricks to help you guys get better every single day. You don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want that full 326 defensive view, which again, in this video, that was only a piece of the puzzle. You want the full scheme, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to grab it today by using code YouTube to get 20% off. It's a full written breakdown with videos, screenshots, and the best part of it is you can save it on your phone and always reference it during gameplay. It's really a no-brainer, and I guarantee it'll help you out on defense. But if you want to see a gameplay of me running this 326 defense against a live action opponent in a real game, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.